Welcome to this explainer. I'm going to be stepping into the role of your virtual consultant pharmacist today. So I want you to picture this scenario. You've got this really stubborn infection, right? Maybe it's a UTI or a pretty nasty respiratory thing. You do everything right. You go to the doctor, they prescribe a strong antibiotic, you pick it up, and you take it religiously every single morning. But days go by and you're just not getting better. Why is that? You really have to ask yourself, why is this antibiotic failing? Ciprofloxacin, which is the drug we're zooming in on today, is a highly powerful, broad-spectrum fluoroquinolone. It's literally designed to be incredibly effective at just stopping bacterial reproduction right in its tracks. So if you're taking your pills every day exactly as the label says and nothing's happening, well, that usually means something environmental is interfering with the drug before it can actually do its job. Believe it or not, the hidden trap that is completely neutralizing your medication might just be your morning routine. Seriously. Okay, let's dive into this, because what you're casually washing that pill down with could be making the medication entirely useless before it even gets anywhere near your bloodstream. Here is a quick roadmap for our consult today. We're going to cover the hidden medication trap, the chemistry of chelation, how to spot the mineral culprits, why water wins, and then we'll wrap up with your daily medication schedule. All right, part 1, the hidden medication trap, and how those innocent morning routines are blocking your antibiotics. Get this, 36%. Clinical studies have actually shown that washing your ciprofloxacin down with just a simple glass of milk can reduce the drug's overall bioavailability in your bloodstream by up to 36%. And if we look at peak blood concentrations, the drop can be even wilder. Eating yogurt alongside your pill, that can reduce the peak concentration of the drug by nearly 50%. Without even realizing it, you're essentially just throwing away half of your prescribed dose. Which brings us to part 2. The chemistry of chelation. Let's talk about the chemical magnets in your gut. So the main culprit here is this fascinating chemical process called chelation. I want you to think of the minerals in your food and supplements, we're talking multivalent cations like calcium, magnesium, iron, or zinc, as these super powerful chemical magnets. When these minerals meet the ciprofloxacin molecule down in your digestive tract, they magnetically lock onto it. Together, they form this giant, insoluble clump. And because this new clump is physically just too large to pass through your intestinal wall, the antibiotic gets trapped. It passes right through your digestive system, exits your body, and never actually reaches your bloodstream to fight that infection. We actually have the hard clinical data to back this up. When we look at the absorption capacities of various antacids toward ciprofloxacin in simulated gastric juices, it's pretty eye-opening. You can see how aggressively compounds like calcium hydroxide and magnesium hydroxide just soak up the drug. I mean, it is a massive, immediate reduction in drug availability right there in the stomach. Looking at this from another scientific angle, we have these high-performance liquid chromatography chromatograms. Those tall, sharp peaks, that represents the antibiotic when it's on its own, fully available and ready to work. But those flattened, muted lines underneath, that is exactly what happens when you introduce antacids and minerals into the mix. The drug just gets chemically trapped and completely silenced. Lab tests consistently prove that these chemical magnets keep the antibiotic from doing its essential job. So let's move on to part 3, spotting the mineral culprits, because it goes way beyond just a glass of milk. Here are the top offenders you need to actively avoid when taking your dose. We've got the obvious dairy items, right? Milk, cheese, yogurt. Then there are over-the-counter antacids like Tums and Myalox, which are basically just concentrated doses of calcium and magnesium. Multivitamins packed with iron and zinc, huge red flags. But here's the really sneaky part. Fortified foods. Calcium-fortified orange juice will block your pill just as effectively as milk. And what about trendy plant-based milks? Well, most store-bought almond milks are fortified with roughly 300 to 450 milligrams of calcium per cup. That means your fancy almond milk latte carries the exact same interaction risk as a glass of regular cow's milk. Crazy, right? But let me throw in a very crucial clinical nuance here. The FDA label specifically states to avoid ciprofloxacin with dairy products alone. If you eat a really big breakfast, say a huge plate of scrambled eggs, some toast, maybe a little sprinkle of cheese, that is actually generally fine. The calcium gets diluted in the large volume of the meal, and the food alters your digestion time, so the interaction is minimized. But taking the pill with just a standalone cup of yogurt or a glass of milk on an empty stomach, that's a guaranteed trap. Part 4. Why water wins. The absolute ultimate pairing for your pill. Let me ask you right now, do you take your pills with your morning latte, your tea, or your juice? Because if you do, we need to completely change that habit today. Taking your pill with dairy or a fortified juice triggers that chelation process we just talked about, dropping your drug concentration by up to 70%. But taking it with a large glass of plain water? Boom, fast peak absorption in just 1 to 2 hours. Plus, ciprofloxacin has this rare side effect where it can actually form painful crystals in your urine, especially if your urine is more alkaline. Drinking plenty of water when you take your pill prevents this condition, which is called crystalluria, and it flushes your system safely. So without a doubt, water is the absolute winner here. Now, as a pharmacist, I hear this complaint literally all the time, but taking pills with water on an empty stomach makes me so incredibly nauseous. And hey, I totally get it. If empty stomach dosing causes you severe nausea or digestive distress, you can absolutely buffer the pill. Just eat a really light, non-dairy snack. A plain piece of toast or a handful of saltine crackers will delay the absorption of the drug by maybe 30 to 60 minutes, but it won't trap the drug the way dairy does, and it'll completely save your stomach from that awful irritation. All right, let's bring it all together in part 5, your daily medication schedule. Because when it comes to this stuff, timing is literally everything. So here are the exact FDA guidelines for timing your meds. For dairy, fortified juices, antacids, and mineral supplements, the golden rule you need to memorize is 2 and 6. You must take your ciprofloxacin at least 2 hours before consuming those products, or you have to wait at least 6 hours after consuming them. It's a pretty wide window, but it takes time for your gut to clear out those chemical magnets. Now, if you're taking it with a regular mixed meal that isn't heavy on dairy, you can take it right with the food, or just wait 1 hour after eating. Let's make this super actionable for your daily routine. Step 1, you wake up and immediately take your ciprofloxacin with a big glass of plain water. Step 2, go about your morning, get dressed, read the news, and just wait at least 2 hours. Step 3, now you can safely enjoy your yogurt, your fortified almond milk latte, or take your morning antacids. It's a totally stress-free schedule that guarantees your medication works exactly the way it's supposed to. But what if you're watching this explainer right this very second and realizing you just swallowed your pill with a giant glass of milk 5 minutes ago? First of all, do not panic. And most importantly, do not double dose. Doubling up increases your risk for severe side effects like tendon issues or nerve pain. That one dose you just took probably didn't absorb perfectly, sure, but for a standard antibiotic course, one single imperfect dose isn't gonna ruin your whole treatment. Just take a breath and take your next scheduled dose correctly with water. Which leaves us with this final, pretty provocative thought. If a simple, innocent little glass of milk or orange juice can completely shut down a powerful, broad-spectrum antibiotic like ciprofloxacin, what else in your medicine cabinet is secretly battling your breakfast? Food-drug interactions are literally everywhere, and understanding them is the key to unlocking your health and making sure your treatments actually work. Keep learning, keep asking your pharmacist questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.